Alright. Oh god. Alright. It looks like the stream has gone live. Let me go ahead and make sure that YouTube is finally finished processing it. And then once I can see the chat, we're going to go ahead and start in full. Let me also go ahead and set up the music really quickly. And we should be good to go in just a couple seconds. I really wish that I could set this up earlier, but still have not been able to figure out how to make it so that I can make pre-release streams be the ones that are actually being streamed. I might have to get a different software for that. Alright, so it looks like people are starting to come in. I can see half of the chat right now. Just give me one sec before I can see, so I can see the full chat, and then we'll go ahead and start. Hello, Mr. Soothing Voice. Thank you. Alright, there we go. Now I can see everything, not only the most recent messages. There we go. Alright, so hello everybody who has come into stream. This has pretty much been a interesting time for me. I've been working on a lot of different things, and I do have a couple announcements that I want to make, some of which are mistakes that I made on the previous stream. The Ganyu video is now going to be starting production pretty soon, so you can expect that. You can expect that relatively soon. Oh, he pulled Ganyu? Nice. Ganyu's pretty good, as a lot of people have figured out. She does have quite a lot of flaws though, and those are flaws that we've already discussed. However, as a general character, Ganyu is pretty damn amazing. We're gonna go ahead and talk about a bit of how released Ganyu is, a couple of things that I got wrong in my analysis. For the most part, most of the things that I said about Ganyu remain true. The few changes that did happen are incredibly positive ones that make the character significantly more fluid, and that is something that I do want to mention. Before we get into that though, a couple things that I do want to know, that I do want to go ahead and mention. I've been working on a Discord server for the longest time now, and I believe that it is now in a position where, at least for the current size of the community, we can go ahead and put it with no problems whatsoever. So I'm not exactly sure how to send the Discord link to as many people as possible. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to make just a video, and then I'm just going to add the Discord link to most of the ones that I've put up already. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So it's probably going to be in the future for now. You can expect that video to come out either today, later today, or in the upcoming days. I've also been working to try to get a streaming schedule, something that I will be able to set up mostly on a daily basis, and I think I'm starting to get to a point where I can actually do that. One of the things that I'm probably going to try to do within the upcoming weeks is that I'm going to be trying to stream games that are not specifically Genshin related. It's completely fine if you don't go ahead and watch those. Those are mostly just games that I've been playing by myself in my off time, and I don't want to just play them by myself. I want to try to see if I want to try to interact with the community with them a little bit. The one that I'm looking forward the most is currently gonna be Ark. I've been playing quite a bit of Ark as of late. I used to play on a very resource-heavy server, and I've been wanting to change to a more private one. So I think that's probably gonna be the first thing that I'm gonna be doing. Warframe streaming coming. Oh my god. So, okay, I might actually do a Warframe stream at some point. And it is, for me, probably going to be the saddest stream ever. Please no. Look, I think if I do a Warframe stream, it's going to be a goodbye forever stream. And if it does happen, it's probably going to happen when Octavia Prime comes out. Because Octavia has been my favorite frame for the longest time in that game. Not even because of the abilities, exclusively aesthetics-wise, Octavia has been my favorite frame. And now the Prime is coming along. I think it might be a good idea to put a final rest for that game. So I've been thinking about doing that. 4-frame mods farming stream. Oh no. That would be really bad. To accompany me on my goodbye. Yeah. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it very strongly. I know that my current account still has a lot of platinum on it. I think I have like 600 platinum remaining. I didn't spend a single cent on the game. It was all for farming. For the longest period of time, I was on Riven selling, so I did end up getting quite a lot. But yeah, that's Warframe related stuff. Probably not gonna touch that. Man, Warframe, that has been quite an experience for anybody that's played that game. It's honestly really sad. Like, you can see the potential the game had, and you can see that at some point it had a very good community, and then just poor decisions kept on ruining it. But that's a discussion for another time. Right now, Genshin, a couple other happy stuffs. I want to go ahead and focus on that later. Alrighty, so now that you mentioned Ganyu, we're going to be talking about Ganyu release, because a couple things did change during the Ganyu release. Some of the ones probably being one of the things that was the most impactful, in my opinion, was the changes that came to the elemental skill. A couple things that I got wrong, period. When I did the original analysis for Ganyu, I was under the impression that only when the flower was destroyed, it dealt damage. That was very clearly, now the character is released, wrong. The ability does damage twice, once when it's first cast, and then again when it explodes. Then, at that point or another, I did also take a look at energy generation, as well as other things regarding the current Ganyu that we have right now, and honestly, this skill is no longer one of the worst in the game. It is fairly decent for what it does, and the damage potential is actually sitting really, really high. It's nowhere near abilities like Mona or Xiangling for that matter, but the damage scaling is not bad. It is a mid-tier ability that does its purpose really well, and that's kind of all that it really needs to do, in all honesty. The biggest thing that changes my perspective on this ability is the casting time. Originally, the casting time that we saw on the first trailers that were released put the casting time similar to that of Mona's back jump, the thing that she does when you hold her E ability. And Mona's back jump takes a very long time, not only to cast, but also to recover from the animation. So, when we first looked at Ganyu, I saw that was how the animation looked, and I was not excited for it. It looked like it was going to be very annoying to use in a proper manner, and I just didn't think it was going to be good. Thankfully, it appears that MiHoYo received this message not only from their testing, but also from the community. And the release Ganyu that we have right now, her elemental skill is insanely fast. It is probably the fastest elemental skill in the game. So with that out of the way, the skill is no longer bad, and it properly helps Ganyu not only with the energy generation that she wants, but also with applying the cryo element first towards enemies. Another thing that got changed, and I'm not sure if this is just a general change all around, I haven't tested it on Amber, but it looks like the decoy inherits Ganyu's resistances, which I'm pretty sure was not something that happened on release. So I remember testing that out with Amber, and that's where I got my original idea that these type of decoys don't inherit defenses. I'm not sure if that was just a general change at some point or another, or if that's something that's exclusive to Ganyu. I'm gonna have to take a look into that. But the good thing that we know is that it does inherit defenses, and because of that, the decoy is significantly more tanky than what I originally imagined. It's still not the tankiest thing. Against a lot of enemies, it'll still get one-shot, but it will survive more than I was expecting, to the point where it still has some of the utility. The important part about decoy abilities is that they're able to remain on the field long enough to draw the aggro. The way that aggro works in Genshin is that whenever an enemy goes ahead and selects a target, they select an attack to use against that target. And that period of time that they take to perform that attack, that's the important part of the decoy, not so much that the decoy remains alive. The decoy can remain alive for up to 6 seconds, which is pretty good. That's pretty much about the same as Mona's decoy. It more than likely will only survive like 3 seconds at most. The damage resistance does help quite a bit, but against further enemies, especially in Abyss, it'll still die in a single shot. So those are the things that changed is specifically to the elemental skill. With these changes, I can no longer say the elemental skill is bad. The elemental skill is pretty decent. If nothing else, it works in the exact same way as Keia's elemental skill, which is basically just to apply the cryo elemental status within separate instances. So that's pretty much all it does, and it helps a lot. The interesting part about this skill, though, is that it actually triggers energy twice. The first time it hits an enemy when you cast the skill, it gives 2 energy orbs, and then if it triggers again, it gives another 2 energy orbs. So that is a pretty decent amount of energy, especially if you manage to get her constellation that allows you to have 2 at the same time. One of the things that you have to take a note, though, is that it does have a cooldown, like most abilities that reset this way. From my tests, it looks like the cooldown is about 2 seconds. So if you want maximum energy, do not spam the ability. Try to scatter around as much as possible. That way you will be getting as much energy as you can. So that goes for the elemental skill. The only other big change that I saw from my initial expectations from Ganyu to the actual release of Ganyu was that the burst got changed as well. The first thing that's important to note is that it is now a 15-second duration with a 15-second cooldown, which means that you can keep it up indefinitely, assuming that you have enough energy. Something that, at the moment, is not exactly the easiest thing to accomplish, but later on, it won't be that bad, especially as we keep on getting more characters of the cryo element that can resonate well with Ganyu. I expect Rosaria to be one that I'm keeping a lookout for, as well as Ayaka. But those two are just the most obvious ones. Who knows what we'll get in the future. The skill itself is pretty good. Another big change that it got, it didn't only get that one. This is a very minor technical change, but it's one that massively increases the damage output by quite a significant amount. In the trailers that we saw for Ganyu, the skill attacked at random, similar to how we see Albedo's Isotoma attack when he bursts. They appear to just be a random area got selected within the field, and that's where the icicle dropped. That's still the case, however, it is more targeted. What the ability appears to do right now is it appears to select an area where it can hit one enemy, and then it'll drop a crystal. The enemies can of course still move out of this area, but it's not as common as what I originally thought. The simple fact that this skill has targeting means that it'll be a lot more reliable as a damage tool, and it does a lot of damage. It's not a small amount. But yeah, that's more or less everything that I wanted to mention about Ganyu. The character was always going to be strong just from the charge attacks, so having it so that the other skills became more effective and more useful will definitely help Ganyu. As it stands right now, I think Ganyu is an easy S+ character. I don't think she drops below S, just because of how effective she really is. She is insanely cheap to build, at least in most cases. The hardest thing that you're gonna be focusing on is trying to get a weapon, and thankfully her best weapon is not actually even a 5-star. It is the Blackcliff Warbow. That is the thing that you're looking for Ganyu. As far as artifact sets, it still seems to be the same. I do not believe the charge attack Bloom, the second part, gets affected by charge attacks. That I have not been able to test. I do not have Ganyu myself, but that appears to be what I've been able to gather. So with that in mind, the new cryo set, the Heart of the Blizzard I believe it's called, that's still going to be the best one. Blackcliff is probably going to be the best, yes. Unless I'm missing something, crit damage is just way too powerful. If somebody can confirm, the only thing that I can see that would change this particular fact would be if the second part of the charge attack is considered a charge attack. From what I was able to tell, it is just considered extra damage. So I'm not entirely sure if it is. I do not have the character myself, and I have not been able to confirm this fact from internet either. If somebody can confirm it for me, that'll be better for me. Because one of the things about the Blackcliff is that it's a multiplier that stacks crit damage, and it also increases attack damage. So at that point, it is giving a significantly bigger increase than the other options. The current 5-star bows that we have, that being the Skyward Harp, and the Amos bow. The Amos bow does a massive increase of damage. On paper, it looks amazing, but it only affects the initial attack, and that's where a lot of the problems lie. The biggest factor why the Blackcliff bow is the biggest damage bonus is because it just affects everything, since it's a crit bonus. It also just increases attack. The Amos bow in particular only affects the initial shot. That is something that you have to remember. The Bloom is considered a charge attack? It is a charge attack. Oh my god, that is insane. Huh. Okay, never mind. Throw everything that I said out of the window. Amos bow is definitely best in slot now. Yeah, no, throw everything I said out of the window. That is a massive change. That is an insanely massive change. Yeah. Okay. That was unexpected. I'm gonna have to redo most of my math then. Let me just go ahead and do a bit of quick math and Huh. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be definitely interesting. Okay. Thank you for that information. I wanted to confirm that, but I was not able to confirm it on my own. Which is probably one of the things that helps about these streams, that I can have you guys help me with it. Yeah, no, that would definitely make the Amos bow the best one. What about the artifact sets? We should probably check. We should probably take a look at that case, because if it does count as a charge attack, then that changes things massively. Alright, where's my calculator? Let's go ahead and take a look. Ganyu, let's go ahead and take a look at you. I'm just pulling up Ganyu's stats, and then we'll go ahead and do a little bit of math, since this might be important. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and take level 6 stats. And then let's go ahead and grab the artifact sets. So Heart of the Blizzard, essentially what it does is that it increases our crit rate by 50%, basically. And then it also increases our ice damage by another 15. So let's go ahead and let's take those into account. So 50% of the time we're going to get a 50% damage increase at base. It's actually a bit higher because of Ganyu's base stats, so we'll go ahead and take that into account. Let's say that we have a level 90 Ganyu. Heart of the Blizzard provides, in general, one second, just putting in the numbers. It looks like Heart of the Blizzard is still higher. Yeah, it looks like Heart of the Blizzard is still higher. So it looks like, pulls out TI-84, 83. I'm just pulling out the, computer calculator, it's nothing that impressive. But yeah. This is actually fairly hard, because one of the things about the Wanderer's Troop set is that it increases 35% damage, but that is a charge attack increase, meaning that it's also a multiplicative bonus that gets affected by cryo damage as well as crit damage. So we have to take that into account as well. 35%, then multiplied by a base. You would have less crit rate, but then again, Ganyu has a significant crit rate boost. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. The crit rate boost is just too high. It's too powerful. From what I can see, the Heart of the Blizzard will increase more than the charge attack variant. It is not precisely that much. It's a pretty big increase. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty massive. Crit rate is just that powerful. But I can see Wondrous Troop working just fine. But you definitely want the Heart of the Blizzard. If you have a full set with Wondrous Troop, do not fret. It's okay. It's still gonna do what it's still gonna do what you want. It's gonna front load the damage. It's also just gonna make it so that it's more consistent. But in a general fight, Heart of the Blizzard will be better as soon as it crits twice. That's basically all. That's basically all that it's gonna come down to. As far as weapons are concerned, let me go ahead and take a look at the Blackcliff bow, and then I'm gonna go ahead and compare it to the to the Amos bow. Blackcliff versus Amos. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and compare the max level. That is a 36% damage bonus, in addition to an up to 36% on that side as well, but that is only to base attack, so that ends up being not that much extra power, only about 200-ish. Then let's go ahead and take a look at the Amos bow, which increases up to 8% per every 0.1 second that it stays on the air, plus an additional 12%. Yeah, no, Amos is just flat out better. There is no comparing this one. It just does way more. It just does way more. So yeah, Amos bow, best in slot. Blackcliff, second best in slot. Third best in slot is probably gonna be... Where is it? Prototype Crescent. That's the priority of that's the priority for Ganyu. Prototype Crescent at third, Blackcliff bow at second, Amos bow at first. Skyward Harp, let's take a look at that one as well. Increases crit damage by 20%, and then it has a 60% chance for 125 every 4 seconds. Yeah, that's not good. That is not good for Ganyu. This is an amazing weapon for other characters, not so much for Ganyu. It'll do the job just fine. I would rather have the Blackcliff bow. I would probably use the Skyward Harp over the Prototype Crescent, however. So yeah. They even put Crescent above Blackcliff. More than likely they put Crescent above Blackcliff because of the fact that you can refine it multiple times. And max refinement, the damage bonus is significant. It is pretty massive. I still think the Blackcliff bow has more damage, however. I'll double check really quickly, but yeah, if we compare them at the same refinement, then they're probably going to be... Blackcliff bow is going to be higher, I imagine. Yeah, it is much higher. The thing about the Prototype Crescent that we have to take in mind is that the attack bonus is an attack bonus to base attack. Most attack bonuses in the game only apply to base attack. I think the only exceptions are Bennett, which is just a plus, and Hu Tao, which is also just a plus. Whenever you see a percentage increase, that is exclusively to base attack. And the base attack of a lot of characters is not super high. It is based on their own base attack and the weapon base attack. So for most characters, the maximum you're gonna get is probably like 700 for 4 stars and like 900 for 5 stars. If you have both 5 stars. So taking that into account, the damage that you get is quite lower. Especially when you take into account that is not a multiplicative bonus, it is just the base. The thing that you really, really want in Genshin are multiplicative damage bonuses. When I say that, I mean things like crit, elemental damage bonuses, just regular damage bonuses, defense reduction, that sort of thing. That is true. If you have Skyward, you can run something different entirely. What would you run though? You would be able to run 2-piece Part of the Blizzard, and then 2-piece what else? Gladiators is probably not good. It's a good damage bonus, but it's not massive enough to justify losing that much crit. Well, we have a meme channel. Yes, there is a meme channel. There is also a not safe for work channel. I do, please, at least try to keep it within the legal spectrum. I know that if I don't put it there, I'm gonna have to manually manage that, and I don't think I will be able to do that. The crit alone is pretty much the crit alone is pretty much the reason why the Blizzard set is good. The extra cryo damage is powerful, but crit is just insane. It's such a big damage boost that in almost every scenario, losing or gaining crit will see massive damage bonuses and everything. So yeah, if you want priority stats in Genshin, it's whatever elemental damage bonus or whatever bonus is your primary stat, whether you do elemental damage or physical damage. Then after that it's crit rate, then after that it's attack. That is like the priority of damage in Genshin. For crit rate in particular, you usually want your crit rate to be half of what your crit damage is. That is the mathematical highest formula for damage in when it comes to our current crit rate. Oh no. Please keep that to the Discord channel. Yeah, we've had quite a bit of a journey when it comes to 5 stars, haven't we? When it comes to we get Zhongli, who has releases, well, we've talked about him plenty. We have Child, who feels almost impossible to play without constellations. Then we have Albedo, who is probably also on the broken side, if I'm being honest. It's just he's a lot more balanced. The things that make Albedo broken are they go more under the radar. They're not as flashy as Ganyu. The thing that makes Ganyu quote-unquote busted is actually not the damage potential, because she's not even the highest damage potential. It's just the ease at which you get that point. You need very little to get Ganyu to be one-shotting bosses, where other characters need significantly more investment. It's just why not Zhongli. I get it. It looks like Zhongli definitely changed their philosophy for characters, which is probably a good thing, in all honesty. I would much rather have characters that are fun but busted, rather than have characters that are boring, even if they are effective. I think Ganyu, she has an interesting playstyle. It's not my playstyle, I'll tell you that much, but I can see why people would enjoy it, especially if you want that feeling of being like a sniper. They're keeping the defense rate on the shield. Yeah, that's something, isn't it? I think we're gonna go to Q&As pretty soon. I just want to talk a bit about the Hypostasis event, and then we'll just go pure Q&As from there on out. We're gonna be talking about Shao versus Ganyu is probably gonna be a very important topic of discussion now that I think about it. It used to be Shao versus Zhongli, and then Zhongli got nerfed to oblivion, which is pretty sad. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Bolite set would actually work on Ganyu, wouldn't it? Man, that set just keeps on becoming more and more powerful by the day. Yeah, That I can agree with that, Darth. When the thing about Ganyu is that she's still an archer. Like, she's the most consistent archer and the highest damage of the class. Well, child maybe, but we don't talk about him. It's the biggest problem with Ganyu is the second you get interrupted by absolutely anything, your DPS falls to the ground, and you wish you had absolutely any other character in her place. That is the one thing about Ganyu. She is extremely easy to build, she's extremely easy to get to the point where you can do massive amounts of damage, but at the same time she is extremely easy to interrupt, and her safety is not the biggest in the world. She can mitigate a lot of it with her elemental skill, which ends up actually helping quite more than I originally imagined. But even in that scenario, there's a lot of enemies that she has troubles with. So you do have to build a team around her, and most of the teams that we currently have are very expensive. Like, I think one of the best teams at the moment is Ganyu, Mona, Albedo, Bennett. Like, that's one of the better teams, and that's 3 5-star characters, one of which is in a banner that you can't get anymore. The other one is on the base banner, which means that you have to be extremely lucky. So, while Ganyu herself is very easy to build, her teams they're not great. A lot of them are insanely expensive. The good thing about Ganyu is that as a solo character, she's pretty good by herself. She doesn't really need support from others, but she does appreciate it. She is very high risk, high reward. It's not to the point where I can say that she's busted, because she's not. There's a lot of weaknesses of the character that are inherent to the character because she is a bow user. The one place where she might be a bit busted is probably boss fights, but in reality we do need characters that specialize in that particular aspect, so I'm not complaining too much. Even there, she has a lot of weaknesses. Mona is probably the best support for Ganyu at the moment, at least in my book. I think the second one is Albedo, third one is Bennett. All three together is the best team, at least the one that I would want to build. Yeah, it's pretty powerful. I might rate Bennett a bit higher than Albedo now that I think about it. I just think Albedo's elevator works really well with Ganyu in particular. Yeah, as it stands right now, she is the only bow user in the game that actually uses the bow. We have Fischl, who forgets she has a bow. She has a Raven, let's be honest. We have Venti, whose only use for the bow is when he's ulting, or bursting. We have Diona, who I forgot was a bow user at some point. And we have Tartaglia, who prefers beating people with the side of the bow rather than shooting arrows. Zhongli's Decide is actually pretty good. The problem with Zhongli is that the numbers are completely out of place. They, in the current state, they're not where they have to be. Zhongli is currently a DPS character with support statistics, which are not good. The new Zhongli, that's going to change quite significantly, and even the support is going to be pretty amazing, especially with the defense reduction. If you think about the defense reduction from a realistic standpoint, the reason why I complain about the defense reduction is not because it's defense reduction, it's because of the percentage that it is. The reason why I think it's too high is because it's not 20%. It's 20% to all elements, meaning that in team damage comparisons, that is a bonus of 80% total for having the shield. It's an 80% team damage bonus, and that's why it's busted. If it's gonna stay that way, that's fine. It's probably not to the point where it's at the most busted state. I think we still have characters that can bring a bigger damage bonus. Then again, you also have Zhongli being a Geo character, which adds another 35% damage to the mix, and because of the Geo Resonance, that's another 15% reduction, and 15% damage increase. So yeah, you can start to see why the numbers are getting a bit crazy. Zhongli is gonna be insane. Zhongli is gonna be insane. The reduction is insanely easy to apply. That's the biggest problem, and it's a mass reduction. That's what makes it strong. If it was only to a single thing, it wouldn't be that bad. It would only be like half of an area set, which is still good, but it's whatever. It's half of an area. You have other characters that can do the thing. It's when you start applying everything else that it becomes a bit crazy. Because let's just put this comparison real quickly. I have my DPS Zhongli, and I go ahead and I do my entire rotation. I go ahead and I drop Gooba, I activate Pyronado, I drop Fischl's Oz, then I go ahead and drop Albedo. Let's say Albedo for the purposes of this. I have 5 damage sources that are being boosted by this defense reduction. The damage from Pyronado, yep, that's 20%. The damage from Fischl, yep, that's 20%. The damage from Albedo, yep, that's 20%. I get a shield, guess what, that's 35 now, in addition to another 15%. Then I start attacking with a Crescent Pike, yep, 20%. I increase the damage from Geo, yep, there you go, another 35%. That's the reason why it's busted. It's not the numbers, it's everything around it. That's the reason why I complain about it. And the reason why I hope that it goes down to 10. Because at 10%, it's whatever. 15 would probably also be good enough. So yeah, the problem with that boost in particular is not the number, it's the mass reduction. That is where it lies. If they're gonna allow it, again, I'm breaking the hell out of it. I just told you the easiest way of doing it. And since this is resistance reduction, that means that it stacks with everything else. So my Fischl, who has a 30% extra from Electro, the Archaic Petra that I'm getting another additional 35% from Electro, she's gonna be hitting hard. But yeah, enough of that. We're gonna go ahead and continue towards the next topic of discussion, and then after that we'll do pure Q&A. Since I plan on this one being a bit shorter, I do want to try to set up that ARC stream at some point today. So yeah, Hypostasis event. This is the new event, and this is the event that I've been the most excited for out of all the events so far. The only other event that I was this excited for was the Fischl event. How have people been doing against the Hypostasis? I personally have been having a lot of fun. I have been enjoying them quite a lot, but even then, I have to admit that they are absolutely brutal. Some of these Hypostases, when you fight them with specific modifiers, they are insane. A lot of them I don't think I would have been able to beat if I didn't have Bennett with me. I hate the Geo Hypostasis, Ningguang main. Yeah, I get you. The Geo Hypostasis against that one, that's the one that I've been having the most troubles with. I did manage to beat it, and I beat it with, I think, like 3,200 points or something like that. It took me like 7 tries, and if I didn't have Noelle, I have no idea how I'd have beaten it, in all honesty. If my Noelle was not level 70 with the artifacts that I have on her, I have a full retracting bolite set to increase the shield strength of the crystallized shields, as well as its own, and I have like 1,600 defense, and I was still almost getting one-shot. It's crazy. I love it. I absolutely love it. This event has been my favorite event so far. The Hypostasis as the Archons. It would be stronger than a lot of the ones right now. Zhongli, Albedo, Bennett, Noelle. Yeah, that's pretty strong. It looks similar to what I had. I had, against, what was his name? Renard or something like that? Against the Geo one. I had to use Bennett. I think I had to use Tartaglia. And then Fischl, Noelle. That's the one that I went with. That's the one that I've been using for a lot of things, in all honesty. I've been enjoying this event a lot. Yes, that is one of the things that's the most fun about this event. You have to pay attention. You can't just roll in and just hope everything goes fine. You get hit once, that's it. That's game over. At least with the modifiers that I have. I put everything on except the elemental skill. One of the things that's been the most annoying so far, it's the timing Like for me, the time that you get is not enough. At least not in the hardest difficulty. Mostly because when you're in that position, a lot of the time gets spent waiting around. Which is one of the reasons why I never put the time up. I always rather put the health up because it makes it easier in my opinion. I think the mathematical best way is like 2 and 2, 180 seconds, 50% extra health. But even then, I don't have enough damage to kill them sometimes, so I just have to go with the full 5 minutes. Yeah, that is one of the things that's it's one of the things that I like about this new event, the fact that you can adjust the difficulty. But it's also kind of one of the things that has me a bit worried. I think this particular system is actually extremely smart. I'm just worried about the modifiers in particular, because as it stands right now, most of the modifiers you can pretty much ignore. At least I've been able to ignore them in a lot of cases. There are some, though, that if you put them on, you feel insanely weak. And it's to the point where just putting them on would pretty much guarantee my defeat, even if everything else was off. And I think the biggest problems with that are the elemental skill cooldown and the crit rate decrease. I think those are the ones that if I see them, I'm not turning them on, no matter what I do. Some of the modifiers have wrong translations in German. Oh no, that is horrible. Did you think about the new players? Yes, I was thinking about the new players. I'm having difficulties. I have 2 5-star characters and a C6 official. I have no idea how other people are doing the event. Like, I was trying just to think about how somebody that would start, they're like they're like Adventurer 20, they barely have like 1 character at level 60. How do they beat these things? I have no idea. Even on the easiest difficulty, it would be very, very hard to beat them. Which is one of the things that I do think is a bit good about the event, that you can put them on the easiest difficulty and still get the Primal Gems. Most of the rewards that you get for getting the high score they're good, but they're not game-changing. They're not the 600 Primal Gems, they're not special event, they're not free characters. They're just general things, which is probably a good thing. It does look like a whale favorite event, but at the same time, the rewards are not really that insane. It's not like you're getting a free character from them, but it is a bit worrisome. So I hope that they don't take this particular approach that much. I think the biggest problem is not the event itself, it's not the structure, it's the time. It's the fact that it's a timed event. I think that's the problem. Because the event itself, you can eventually get to that point, and it wouldn't be that difficult in all honesty. But the fact that it's a timed event that's not a permanent part of the game, that's what makes it feel that way. Yeah, the bosses, they get pretty hard at some points. I think the hardest one, in my opinion, is definitely the Geo one. I think that one's the hardest one, at least in my experience. It might just be because of the team that I have, but if it wasn't for Noel, I would not have beaten that guy. Just flat out. I would probably have to reduce the difficulty. When are we getting events that are not DPS checks? We've gotten a couple of really nice exploration events. I was a big fan of the Lost Riches event. And I think more events like that would probably be a good one. I know this is not a popular opinion. I actually liked the delivery event. The thing that I did not like about the delivery event was that it was timed. I think that's the thing that killed it for me. Because a lot of the times that I was challenging that event, I didn't have the time to properly test out and do different routes or stuff of the matter. I pulled out a lot of very interesting movement tactics in order to complete that event. And I actually enjoyed that part, because it also allowed me to explore other areas that I hadn't explored before, take a deeper look into the movement system, have fun just enjoying a bit of the world. But I had that pressure that I have to beat it in time, and that's what killed it for me. Tower defense, never. Never have a tower defense event. Never. Never. Please, no. Oh, the Geo1 had a bug? I hate tower defense in this game. I don't think it has a place in Genshin, if I'm being honest with you. It's too punishing, in my opinion. A single second where abilities are not properly placed pretty much ruins the entire event for tower defense, and that's why I don't like it in particular. Because enemies spawn already attacking the tower. So if you don't have specific characters with specific cooldowns active, it feels almost impossible. And Genshin is RNG based for character-wise, so people are not going to get Ning Wong, people are not going to get Venti, people are not going to get Sucrose. And yes, I know the Anemo Traveler helps, but just the Anemo Traveler is not enough for a lot of cases. The Lantern White's Holy Tower Defense? Oh no, please no. Please no. Oh god, that is my most hated mode. Oh boy. Yeah, I guess you're right. We should probably take a look and wait and see what's gonna happen when it comes to that. I think the biggest problem with tower defense is we have no way of keeping the keeping enemies away from it. We have what is it? 2 ways of getting aggro, that being the decoys and the Anemo Traveler. And when it comes to the decoys that we have Mona, who can't choose location. You can only target it on an enemy. We have Ganyu, who can choose location, but it takes a while for that decoy to take advantage. Also, both those characters are 5 stars. And then we have Amber, whose decoy is useless. The only character that we can reliably have access to that helps in tower defense is the Anemo Traveler, and most people don't have that ready. And even the Anemo Traveler can't help in every situation. The only way to get rid of ranged enemies that directly target the tower would be to run up to them and kill them before they have a chance. And if you're a solo player, best of lucks with that. Xiangling? Does Xiangling have an aggro targeter? I've not seen that one. You can build your own defense towers in the event. Oh, okay. If that's the case, that's a lot better. I'm a big fan of Bloons, so if I can play Bloons tower defense in Genshin, I'd be happy with that. That might actually be more fun, if I'm being honest. If it's pure tower defense, that might actually be pretty fun. Maybe you can have like specific towers that you can only build if you have certain characters. As long as they're not busted or anything, they should be fine. That could be like a nice little bonus. Yeah, I think I would definitely want the link to see that. I've not been able to keep up with Genshin information as of late. I've been mostly dealing with IRL stuff and just trying to figure schedules and stuff of the sort. I think I'm starting to get to a point where most of that is finished, so I'll be more active in YouTube. At least that's the hope. One of the things that's definitely going to help is that I'm trying to get streaming ready so that I can stream games a bit more often. I don't have many games that I can stream. My PC is not that good, and most of the things that I will be able to stream are going to be on the Xbox. The Hypostasis event could be a sneak peek of the future endgame. Honestly, I'm kinda hoping that's the case. If we get more enemies like this, I would definitely be glad. One of the things that I'm actually going to miss the most is when they go away, because I'm actually enjoying them quite a lot right now. I would really like to see the hypostasis that we have right now, the pure hypostasis, become like a stronger version of the ones that we have right now, where maybe at higher AR, like, I don't know, 55, because that's the one that doesn't have anything at the moment, you can start fighting pure hypostasis, or like double the loot, or something of the sort. It's probably not going to be double, let's be real, but I would like to be able to fight them again for more things as a regular thing. Yes, that is something that I saw, that, Darth, that is a good thing. That, they're putting Fragile Resin into the Battle Pass. That, if I'm being 100% honest, it does feel like just a rushed decision put in there to just shut up the community. If I'm being 100% honest, that's kinda how it feels like it. I'm not saying that it's not gonna help, it is like 280 extra resin, but that's every month. Not even every month, it's like month and a half, I think that's how much Battle Pass lasts. It's not a lot, and it won't fix any of the core issues. I think resin is starting to become less of a problem, but it is still an issue that has to be addressed at some point. Resin card, yeah, it might happen at some point. That's a very complicated subject, in all honesty, because resin as a whole, it's meant to be that gating mechanic that keeps people from getting burned out. But the thing is, the game is too random. There is too much randomness. So, what ends up getting people burned is not the resin, but the fact that they're not getting anything with that resin. I think the biggest problem is in the artifact grinding department. The resource management is not that much. The problems that we had with Mora, those have been fixed by events. The problems that we've had with experience books, those have been mitigated, not so much fixed. But they're less relevant now. Same thing with farming for ascension materials and all that stuff. The biggest thing that has not been addressed as of yet has been artifact farming. And if I'm being honest, I don't even think changing the resin system will fix that. The problem with artifact farming is that it's just too random. Even if we double the resin, that's probably not gonna get rid of the frustrations. It's gonna make it feel better, but for how long? If we get to a point where you can't reliably spend all of your resin, then that'll just feel inefficient. I don't think the problem with the resin system lies with the fact that it's too little. I think it lies to the fact that it takes too long to get what you want. I think that's the biggest issue. My idea to fix it would be to add an item that allows you to re-roll substats or main stats on artifacts. That's probably the easiest solution. We'll have to see what MiHoYo comes out with, because it is a problem. I just don't know how to fix it. Just doubling the resin doesn't seem like a proper fix to me. It just feels like it'll add frustrations in other areas. They mentioned ley lines. Yeah, that is weird. That is, I know that they're probably referring to things like the official event, where you had specific things that you had to do. Ley lines, I'm not so sure about that one. We're probably going to get more resin events at some point in the future. They're likely just going to be very specialized. If we do get resin events, I expect them to be something like every time you do a ley line, you double the reward. That's more than likely what they're hinting at. At least I hope that's the case, because if they don't, they're gonna have a massive controversy on their hands. Oh, that is what I was imagining was gonna happen. That's good. I don't think that's a bad event. I think that's enough. Mora is a big issue, and having an event that gives you double the Mora for just doing things that you were going to do anyways at some point or another is not a bad thing. I think that'll do. As long as they keep it that way, I think it'll be fine. A permanent new game mode. I think that's something that's gonna come along eventually. I just don't know what it's gonna look like. I think a lot of the events that we've been getting so far have been just like things that the development team has been saying that they want to add to the game, and they're just throwing them out as events to see what sticks. That's the kind of thing that I'm getting the vibe from right here. So a lot of the events that we've gotten, they've had some pretty technical aspects to them, which makes me think that they've been working on them for a while. So more than likely, they're just throwing them out in imperfect states to see how the community reacts to them, and then build upon those ideas. That's what this feels like. Not entirely sure. They could just not do anything about it. I don't think miHoYo will do that though. They've clearly got a golden egg right here, or golden goose right here, and they want to keep it laying eggs. So we'll see what ends up happening. Sam, I hope that's the case at some point or another, because I think having an item like that will help a lot. It'll make a lot of areas more relevant. It'll give a reward that people actually want, and it could be considered one of those evergreen rewards that will never be irrelevant, because everybody just likes having better stats. So I don't see a point where you will have everything that you want. I just don't think that's something that will happen realistically in Genshin. How long is it gonna take? That's the problem. And I don't have an answer to that. It's gonna come down to developers, and honestly, the only thing we can do is be patient. The game itself has a lot to provide, and even when the game becomes stale, we know that because of the amount of money that they've already made, it'll still keep on running like a year into the future. I do not see Genshin dropping down anytime soon. I think it has more than enough already to where it has a stable future. We'll see if they do something to destroy that future, but I'm hoping that doesn't become the case. People play the game pretty hard, are getting impatient. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that impatience. If I'm being honest, if you're getting to that point where you're not enjoying it that much, I would probably just take a break from it, in all honesty. Wait like a year or two, see what gets added, then come back. If you really feel like you want to play a bit more of the game, just take a completely disassociated approach. The good thing about Genshin is that most of the daily quests, they take like 3 minutes to do each quest, so simply logging in, doing the quest, logging off, playing other games in the meantime, just getting your resources up, that'll probably serve you better in the future. Genshin will last a while. Genshin will last a while. I do feel like it's healthy for games to encourage breaks. The problem with that is when your encouragement is also putting the pay me money part. That's where I have a problem with it. So for the most part, I think at least I am gonna encourage that. If you're not feeling the game, or if you're feeling that there's too much pressure for you to pay for resin or anything of the sort, just take a break from it, in all honesty. Play small amounts every game just to get resources. Then once you see a big update that you feel like you want to try, you can come back, have like 10k Primogems or something of the sort, and then just do whatever you want. I feel like that's just a better way of looking at it. Don't take the game too seriously, you'll just burn yourself out. You love gambling for artifacts, fair enough. It is a gacha game. That is something that a lot of people gotta remember. It's a gacha game. It's gonna live forever. I am in the same place. I have probably like 5 full sets of perfect Archaic Petra, and I have not gotten a single mask with crit rate. I don't even care about the substats. I just want the Bolide mask to have crit rate, and I have not been able to do that. I've also been trying for the longest time to get a Hydro artifact bonus that's legendary. I have 1, and it's not good. And that's from like, God, I don't know how many dungeons. It's been bad. I have an insane amount of Archaic Petra, but I don't have a single Bolide set. Like, I have 1, and it's only half good. It's hard. It's just the luck of the draw. Some people get what I want insanely quickly, and I'll get what other people want insanely quickly. Let us trade artifacts. Oh god, that would be amazing. Imagine if we had a guild system where you could trade artifacts. That could be pretty good. That would probably break a couple things. I don't see it happening. That is one of the things that I do actually like, because we are starting to get characters that scale really well with other artifact sets. So characters like Hu Tao will eventually make it so that HP artifacts are no longer seen as a dump artifact, or you're like, ugh, I got HP again. Now you'll get characters that will actually be able to take advantage of it. It'll probably take a while though. And if I'm being honest with you guys, Hu Tao is not really looking that strong as it stands right now. She's probably going to be strong just for the base fact that she has a pyro conversion. But even that is probably going to be weird. We'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what ends up happening. I think artifact reroll is probably going to be the top priority. Or, well, the top thing that we should be looking forward for. If that ever happens. It's probably going to happen at some point in this game's life cycle. Just not entirely sure when. Another thing that I would probably like would probably be if we had like an artifact vendor. Like, I don't know, maybe every time that you dismantle an artifact, that you consume it, you get like a small amount of a currency, whatever currency it is. And then like every week we have like an artifact vendor that gives you legendary artifacts for a specific domain. I think that could be pretty good. Hu Tao mechanics look really cool. Yeah, I think Hu Tao is gonna be very, very fun. I think she's gonna be one of those very, 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 very fun characters. I'm just not sure if she's gonna be strong. I think she's gonna play very similarly to Tartaglia, and we'll just have to see. Just with the numbers alone, we can't really say enough at the moment, and the character is still being built. We realistically don't know how it's gonna end up, so yeah, it's too early to say anything. She looks fun. That's about as much as we can say. Oh, they've changed more things about Hu Tao? I'm gonna go ahead and take a look. I think the last time that I looked at her, let's see. It would be more RNG, but it would be positive RNG, it wouldn't be negative one. Because it's something that you can ignore, pretty much. Which I think is probably a good thing. I don't think RNG is inherently bad. I think the problem with RNG lies when it is being used to gate players, instead of when it's being used to help players, or keep experiences fresh. At the moment, artifact domains are very much being used as a wall. Artifact vendors would be a mitigation event for that. It wouldn't be so much as a fix, it would be mitigation. The only exception would be if you could actually choose what the artifact vendor has. It's kind of the same thing with the shop that we have right now. It's not good. Let's be realistic. The shop where we use the golden things that we get from summoning, it is very expensive and it is very hard to get things out of it. That is not a good way of doing it. Unfortunately, if we have artifact vendors, that's probably how it's going to end up happening. We'll see what happens. I do think Genshin, for the most part, looks like it's doing the right moves. Even when it makes mistakes, they do try to correct them. They should probably stop listening to the PR department that much, though. I don't think their PR department knows what they're doing too well. Alright, let's take a look at Hu Tao. Hu Tao, let's see, have you changed anything? It looks like scaling got a little bit higher. Okay, 400% now. That used to be 300. That actually makes it a lot more decent. That actually makes it significantly more powerful. Blood Blossom every 4 seconds. And it looks like scaling got boosted a little bit. Oh, the max HP percentage also got boosted. Okay, these numbers are actually looking pretty decent. Duration is still very low. That might end up being a problem. Is 9 seconds enough? It is enough for Tartaglia, so it might be enough for Hu Tao. Yeah, I think it fits well. It fits enough. It gives you... If they reduce this cooldown by 1 second, I think this is pretty much perfect for what you want for this type of character. Let's take a look at the burst. Has the burst changed it at all? It has actually changed from last time that I saw it. Regenerates max HP, can be triggered up to 5 times. If Hu Tao's HP is below or equal to 50% when the enemy is hit, both the damage and HP regeneration are increased. Okay, that's new. It looks okay. It's kinda hard to tell. Yeah, it's still too early to say. She does look a lot better, though. She definitely looks different from what I saw her last time. Alrighty then. So that's probably enough for... That's probably enough for Hu Tao. She looks a lot better. She definitely looks a lot better. That's probably a very good discussion point when it comes to constellations. Because we all know that constellations are insanely powerful. But for 5-star characters, looking above C2 is probably a waste if I'm being realistic. The best way to look at it is, what are the chances, or better said, how many resources do you need to spend in order to get a C6 character? In average, you need 9 pulls that are legendary on the banner. 9 pulls. The average pity is like, what, $200? And you need 9 of those in order to get a character to C6? Most C6, if not all C6, I'm pretty sure all C6, are not worth that investment. If you were to grab that exact same investment and then just spread it along different banners, you'd probably end with 6, 7, if you're really lucky, even 9 different 5-star characters. All of which, if you spend your resources smartly, should be playable at C0. Which is what I think is a better use of your resources. If you plan on getting a character to C6, also consider that doing so, you are losing out on 9 legendary characters, potentially 9. You're losing out on 9 chances to get Diluc, you're losing out on 9 chances to get Chi-Chi, 9 chances to get Mona, 9 chances to get Keqing. Well, actually that's probably not the case, it's more like you're losing out on the banner characters. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. If you let's say that I was to get like 160,000 Primogems from Mihoyo. Not saying that's gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. But if I were to have that many Primogems, what would be the best way to use them? I think the best way to use them would be to look at banner characters in particular, and then use those resources to get characters that are effective at either C0 or C1, and then build based around that. Instead of just building one specific team, I would much rather have the option to build 4 teams that specialize in different roles. Like, I think I have that right now. I have a team that's specific for boss killing, I have 2 teams that are specific for Abyss, and then I have teams that I can switch around in order to fight specific bosses that are elemental based. I think that's probably the best way to use resources, rather than trying to focus on only one character. The only people that do C6 are pretty much whales, and yeah, they definitely do not care about that money. Even if some of them probably should. I do not recommend that you try to spend that much money on this game. It is not worth it in the slightest. But yeah, enough about that one. We've pretty much talked about most of the things that I want to talk about, and I kind of want to try to get the ARC stream working. So, I'm not sure. Should we finish the stream right now, and should I try to get the ARC stream working? I don't know. Do people even want to watch me play ARC? I don't know. I just kind of want to play ARC. I've been playing it for quite a while, and I recently went out of a server, and I've been playing by myself, and I want to kind of share with a lot of people, just see what we can do. I'm basically just playing solo. It's nothing too special. That is true, Darth. The satisfaction that you get when you get a free character is just... Whereas a free-to-play character, you get a 5-star. It feels amazing. Most of my 5 stars have been 5 stars that I did not want. And even those, I was excited. I was very excited, and I think I've managed to build teams around those pretty powerful teams. Yeah, when people are paying the amount of money they're paying, it's because you have to think about it. There are people that have spent $5,000 or more on Genshin Impact. My computer, the one that I'm using to do live streams, the one that I'm using to do everything YouTube related, that cost me $500. My Xbox, that cost me another $500. That's 1/5 of what people have spent trying to get a character on a game that's eventually gonna go away, on a game that they can't recover that investment in. Yeah, it's sad, because those people are being legitimately targeted. We have statistics, we have people whose entire job is to analyze your brain and figure out what's the best way to convince you to spend money. It's scary, and it's terrifying, and the best thing that you can do as someone that sees people who are doing that is just to try to explain to them the best way to go about it. Because for the most part, a lot of those people are not even looking for the character, they're just looking for the rush. A lot of people who are paying that C6ing a lot of characters, most of them probably won't even end up using them, because they don't synergize well with their teams. It's pretty terrifying. But yeah, the best thing we can do is probably just try to help them as much as possible to see not only the amount of money they're spending, but the amount of things that they could be using that money for other than Genshin, other than other gacha games. It's definitely one of the most terrifying parts that we've seen out of the gaming community. But it's also one of the reasons why you have to talk about it. Like, it's not an easy topic to discuss, but it's one that has to happen. They do have way more money than a lot of people think. And it's to that point where they have so much money that they don't see it as money anymore. But in a lot of ways, that's not everybody. There's a lot of people that have been negatively impacted by it, and that's kind of one of those points, because I know people who have literally asked for money just so they could roll into a gacha when they don't have food to eat. There are people who have legitimately stolen from their parents' credit card in order to pay for a gacha when the parent is struggling to pay for rent. And yes, we do have those millionaires that have like 1 billion stocks in every single market possible, that they can just spend $12,000 and nobody cares. Nobody's saying, oh, poor them. It's more about the people that are being enticed about it when they do not have that. It's rough. It's really rough. I think whether the person has the ability to spend or not, that is not a reason to say that addiction is something that's passable. I don't think there's any reason where it's okay to abuse somebody else's psychological failings in that manner, whether they can or they can't. But yeah, we got into a pretty tough topic really quickly. Yeah, the summons are insanely expensive. Like, I think if I were to go into the summons right now, what is it, like, the 300 Primogem pack is equivalent of 3 hours of minimum pay. 300 Primogems are 3 hours of minimum pay for my country. That's pretty bad. That's insane. Their 300 Primogems are equivalent to what I'm using in order to survive for 3 days. Jesus. Gonna try and see one for Xiao. I do hope the best. I do hope you get the best case scenario in that. I hope you the best of luck, but don't overextend yourself. We now know that miHoYo is completely okay with putting characters in banners again. They're already thinking about doing that for Zhongli. Even if you don't get to see one right now, you'll likely be able to get it again in the future, once you've had enough time to gather free-to-play resources, and all of that matters. So, best of lucks. I hope that you get it, but don't despair if you don't. You'll get another chance. But with that out of the way, I do think we're getting to a point where I do want to end this stream. Banner reruns, it appears to be a rumor right now, but it looks like a very strong rumor, so it's unlikely that it's not going to be a thing. It's more likely that it's going to happen than it is that it isn't. Especially when you take business into account and the fact that using assets that have already been made is the objective of like every big business. So just from an economic standpoint, they're gonna do it eventually. When is it gonna happen? I don't know. But I can tell you that it's gonna happen at some point. It's unlikely that it isn't. They might do it even in the next one. We don't know. We don't know. I think more than likely, if I were to do it, I would probably make it like an event where at the end of the year, every character that has been a 5-star character, you can roll on one specific banner, and then you can choose which one is the one that you want the most. That's how I would do it, because that's the one that abuses the most psychological manners, while at the same time getting the most profit. It sounds bad, but that's how I would do it, because that's the most efficient. So that's probably something that we're going to see in the future. But yeah. With that out of the way, I do think I'm probably going to be finishing the stream right now. I want to do an ARC stream today. I do not know if it's going to happen, but I'm going to try. And we'll see how that goes. I'm not entirely sure if my computer is going to be able to run it. I'm not entirely sure if my internet is going to be able to run it. But we'll see for that in the future. Hopefully we get more streams like this. I think one of the things that I do want to do, like extremely strongly, is I want to make every Friday a Genshin stream. I want to make every Friday a discussion stream for Genshin. Probably not this one, but that is something that I'm going to be working for as much as possible. As far as the Ganyu analysis video, clearly I didn't do enough research. I haven't started with a script, which was probably a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and do more research on Ganyu, and expect to see that being worked on soon. The one thing that I have on the back burner right now is that I'm making a short series, which is Q&As. I'm basically just FAQs, my bad. I'm grabbing some of the most common questions that I get, and I'm going to try to explain them in quick, minute-long videos in as short a manner as possible for specific things. The ones that I have right now are for the Crescent Pike, Archaic Petra, and Venereer set. Those are the 3 things that I'm working on. I don't know when they'll be ready. I'll release them when I have them. Oh, there might be an official live stream on Friday. That's probably something that I'm going to keep an eye out for. But anyways, if you enjoyed, thank you very much for watching. I've been Portals. Out.